Good afternoon and welcome to This Week in Your Daily Star Trek News. Today is Sunday, May 1st, 2022. Coming up on the show today, Lower Deck Season 2 is coming out on Blu-ray this summer. LeVar Burton is set to be honored with a Lifetime Achievement Emmy Award, and we're looking forward to the Orville Season 3. On top of the season finale of Picard Season 2 and also the world premiere of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. My name is Alison Pitt, and today's show is supported by people like you through Patreon. To find out more and add your support, please head over to patreon.com/daily Star Trek news. If you're listening to me on the podcast today, as per usual, I would encourage you to come over and visit us during the live stream. We do this every Sunday on YouTube at 2 p.m. Pacific time. There's people in the chat. We have a good time. And there's usually some stuff that I leave to the end that doesn't make it into the main show. It's the after show, if you will. Today, I will be commenting on the Robert April casting that is kind of currently today setting the internet on fire, and talking a little bit about how you can keep the internet safe and fun while you are being a Star Trek fan. So tune into that. The YouTube is a fun place to go. Like I said, we do all of the main show plus all the stuff at the end. But in addition to that, you can also get all the information that we're doing today on dailystartreknews.com. All of the articles are there, plus some extra stuff like trivia and history. We do our weekly events listing there too. And this week is going to be really fun, actually. So I'll talk about it a little bit more, but of course we have some huge on-screen television screen stuff that's happening this week, but it's not the only thing that's going on in the fandom, which is great news, especially for those of you who maybe can't get the new stuff yet. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, all the stuff that's going on the web this week. But anyway, before we get to that, we do a poll every week. There's a poll running here in the YouTube live chat, and there's also a poll running over on Twitter, so you can participate in both places. I like to do both at the same time because sometimes ends up being a slightly different result, and it's kind of fun. Today's poll is talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So we have some new characters coming in, and I'm curious to find out who you are most excited to get to know. So your four choices are La'an Noonien Singh, Dr. Mbenga, Erica Ortegas, and Hemmer. So those are your four choices. Please let me know either by the Twitter poll or by the poll here on YouTube. And I'm curious. And yes, I left some people out. You only get four choices. So I tried to pick the new people. And yes, I left out somebody. Anyway, that's the poll. And yeah, that's all I have for the intro. Let's get started, shall we? Unfortunately, today's show is starting on a bit of a downer, as it sometimes does. We have two members of our Star Trek family. We found out about their passing this week. So let's see. Chris and David very kindly did their obituaries this week. Please check them out in full on dailystartreknews.com, but I will read them for you here today. So the first one is Harold Livingston. He was the screenwriter for Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and his death was confirmed this week on Variety by his nephew, Robert Livingston. He was 97 years old. So arguably his greatest work as a screenwriter, Livingston penned the screenplay, of course, for the motion picture alongside science fiction author Alan Dean Foster and Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry. The film was ultimately nominated for 3 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Art Direction, and Best Visual Effects. And if you haven't seen the new 4K restored Director's Edition, please check that out. It's on Paramount Plus right now, and coming soon to a theater near you. Before turning to the world of entertainment, Livingston served as a radio operator for the U.S. Army Air Force. During the Israeli War of Independence in the late 1940s, Livingston flew munitions to Palestine in secret, as Jews in Mandatory Palestine were not allowed to purchase military equipment. Livingston went on to become one of the first members of the Israeli Air Force. In the 1960s, Harold Livingston turned his attention towards writing. He wrote for numerous series throughout the decade and into the 1970s, penning episodes for shows like Mission Impossible, The $6 Million Man, Barbary Coast, and Future Cop. In addition to writing for the screen, Livingston also authored several novels, including The Detroiters, Touch the Sky, and To Die in Babylon. Harold Livingston is survived by his daughters Leah Livingston Hopkins and Eve Livingston, and his son David Livingston and nephew Robert. Also this week, we learned of the passing of illustrator James Bama. Star Trek fans know him for his illustration that became the cover for the first James Blish novelizations of episodes from Star Trek, the original series. He died on April 24th, confirmed by the Ballard Funeral Home in Wyoming, just shy of his 96th birthday. Dayton Ward shared some of this information with us through Facebook. Following a 22-year career as a commercial artist, according to Wikipedia, which included work for the Saturday Evening Post and Reader's Digest, Bama left New York for Wyoming to focus on painting Western themes in his realist style. Among other honors, he was inducted into the Society of Illustrators Hall of Fame in 2000. So please join us here at Daily Star Trek News, offering condolences to Harold Livingston and James Bama's families. And thank you to Chris and David for writing those up. All right. So let's turn our attentions now to what is coming up this week. So it's really funny, actually. Most of the news in the Star Trek land over the past week or so really has been either very small, like niche stories, or it's really been the media blitz for two things. It's the finale of Picard Season 2 and also the premiere of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Those two things are unavoidable. So if you are online at all and paying attention to any kind of Star Trek media, there are all sorts of interviews and things like that going on. They're all good. Honestly, the reception for both has been incredibly good, at least from what I have seen. So to recap, Picard Season 2 finale ends this Thursday, and it's coincident with also this Thursday, the premiere of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. If you are interested, we will have some preview pics and things like that coming up later in the week. I know that there's a trailer out already for Star Trek Picard finale that looks very good, by the way. So you can check those out if you want to get excited, or just leave it till Thursday and try to avoid spoilers if you can. But like I said, that is not the only thing that happened in Star Trek land over the past week. So one of the things that they did announce was that Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2 is coming to Blu-ray this summer. So for those of you who do not have Paramount Plus, or if you just want all of the extras and good stuff, that's coming to Blu-ray and DVD on July the 12th. July 12th. As per usual, it's going to have the full Season 2, all of the episodes, but then it's also got a whole bunch of special effects, not effects. You know what I'm saying? What do they call features, special features, if that's what you enjoy doing. So check that out. When we were told about that earlier this week, you couldn't pre-order it, or you know how the link looks a little dodgy sometimes on Amazon, but check again. You might be able to pre-order it now. Now, looking backwards a little bit to older Star Trek, LeVar Burton this week it was announced that he is going to be honored with a Lifetime Achievement Emmy Award, which is just fantastic. LeVar Burton is really just having quite a year. He's sort of, he's never really gone away, right? He's still, he's done Reading Rainbow. He won a Webby Award this week for LeVar Burton Reads, his podcast. He was the Grand Marshal of the Rose Parade earlier this year. He was in contention for Jeopardy last year. It's been a really big, busy time for LeVar Burton. And so even though I don't think anybody expected, but it's not entirely unexpected for him to be awarded with a Lifetime Achievement Award. So um, it's interesting. So they're going to award. So Variety announced this. He will be given the award at the first annual Children and Family Emmy Awards, which is coming in December. Here's what they said of this new Emmys and the new ceremony. The National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences President and CEO Adam Sharp talked about the ceremony. He said, "We look forward to honoring this year's unparalleled class of Lifetime Achievement honorees, each an icon in their craft, and couldn't be more excited to award the first ever Children's and Family Awards. After 2 years of virtual ceremonies, we're overjoyed once again to be together in person to celebrate the best of television." So basically, what they're doing is they're creating a whole new awards for children and family television, and they're giving away the Lifetime Achievement Awards at that ceremony. I don't think it's specifically children's Lifetime Achievement Awards or anything like that. Other 2022 honorees of the Lifetime Achievement Awards of this year include Sir David Attenborough, who you will know from like every documentary ever, Days of Our Lives actor John Aniston, journalist Judy Woodruff, most recently from PBS NewsHour. She's wonderful. And the series This Old House from PBS. This Old House is one of only 2 other shows to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award along with Sesame Street and 60 Minutes. So that's kind of a big deal. And there's a couple of other Lifetime Achievement Awards in there as well. So you'll have to wait till December to see the award given out. But nonetheless, congratulations to LeVar Burton on a well-deserved Lifetime Achievement Award from the Emmys. Okay. So really quick, I do just want to follow up on a story that we did last week. Well, story, I guess. Do you remember that TNG animated a series little clip that that we shared with you guys? Yeah, so there's a behind the scenes of that too. That's pretty much the whole story. So I'm not going to read anything further into it. But the Gazelle Automations basically put out a behind the scenes of how they did that and why they did that. That's available on YouTube. And if you'd like the link, I will leave it down below, or you can click through on dailystartreknews.com to check that out. And then I had to get that in because I'm going to shift gears just a teeny tiny bit. I'm so excited. The Orville season 3 is really, really close. And I know it's not Star Trek specifically, but if you are watching the Orville or you have watched the Orville, you will know that the Orville is one of the best Star Trek series there is. They were rudely shut down in the middle of filming season 3 in early 2020 by the pandemic, of course, and they've suffered some delays and yada yada. They didn't have the benefit of where Discovery had finished principal filming, so they were able to pick up and basically lean on post-production to get the series out. They didn't have the benefit of doing that because they'd been shut down. But now it's getting ready. It's airing on June the 2nd. And the marketing is starting to ramp up for that. So we had 2 new things come out this week. Number 1, the new key art, which is gorgeous. It's kind of like what do they call it? The logo of the thing. I can't remember what it's called. It's not the Federation, the other thing. Planetary Union, that's what it is. It's the Planetary Union logo, but kind of like neon trails behind a bunch of ships. It's absolutely beautiful and striking. So you should definitely see that. It's getting me excited. And also, Tom Costantino, who's one of the producers of The Orville, shared a gag reel from season 1, which has heretofore not been seen and is wonderful. So yeah, go and check that out and mark your calendars. June 2nd, we will still be having Strange New Worlds on, but Strange New Worlds at that point will be the latter half of the season. So if you're looking forward to the next new thing, June 2nd is your date. And that is it for the news this week. I mean, really the big story is Picard season 2 is finishing, and also Strange New Worlds is starting. Um, so yeah. I will say a note about Strange New Worlds. We're going to have some more stories on it coming up this week. There was a premiere last night, so Saturday night in New York City. A lot of people in the fandom went to go and see screenings of the first couple of episodes, and of course, where some of the larger publications have had screeners and things. They're starting to come out with uh, reviews and things. Some are spoiler free. I haven't seen any super spoilery reviews yet, but generally speaking, there's some pretty glowing things to say. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be the focus this week. But we are going to try and make sure that we keep some other coverage in there. Like I said, in case you are one of the people who cannot see Strange New Worlds. Excuse me, to make sure that you don't miss any of those stories, please make sure that you subscribe to our newsletter at dailystartreknews.com/contact. All right. So that's the news this week. I'm going to do show and tell in a minute, and we're also going to look at the poll results very quickly. All right, on Twitter, yep, it's going. So get your vote in. Once again, the poll this week is: which new character are you most excited to get to know in Star Trek: Strange New Worlds? That's Laan Noonien Singh, Dr. Mbenga, Erica Ortegas, and Hemmer. I know I couldn't include everybody. Yell at YouTube and Twitter for not giving me more options. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so show and tell this week is going to be fully self-serving, which is sometimes that happens. I have kind of like 1.5 things to show you. So the first is, I probably showed you this shirt before, actually. This shirt is one of my favorites. It's a Star Trek Online shirt with just like all of the ships. The reason being is because we did an interview by email with Jesse Heinig, who's a developer at Star Trek Online, and it's a really wonderful interview. So that will be coming out on the web later on this week. So please look out for that. I'm aiming for Tuesday, probably. Jesse has been with Star Trek Online for, I think, 12 years. So he's really seen some stuff. And if you follow him on any kind of social media, he's kind of known for his really thoughtful takes on game development and Star Trek and philosophy and those sorts of things. So it was a really interesting interview, and I can't wait for you guys to read it. So that's self-serving show and tell number 1. Also, self-serving show and tell number 2 is this book. The books at Smart Pop Books were very kind and sent me a copy of the Star Trek Book of Friendship, which is here. I'll zoom in so you can see it better. There we go. That is coming out, available on May 10th. And so I've done a little flip through video, so I'll share that with you guys this week. But also last week I had the chance to sit down with the authors, Rob Perlman and Jordan Hoffman. And we had a really great discussion about, Star Trek and friendships and conventions, and it was a really good time. So that'll be coming out later this week too. So please look out for that. But I I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it for the other stuff later this week. But I like it. Yeah. So that's show and tell this week. Short and sweet, and very self-serving, because basically it's go and see our content later on in the week. All right. So apparently it's a short show today, guys. Honestly, not surprising, because so a little background on, so what we do is, we have a limited amount of resources here at Daily Star Trek News, and we have to pick and choose the biggest stories of the week. And so sometimes we don't get it all. There's some things that we have to do, especially when the shows are on, currently broadcasting. We try to bring you guys the preview picks and the trailers and things like that. Leaves limited room for other things. So stay tuned for this summer when there's no Star Trek on television, and it'll all be all the fun stuff. But whatever. The point being is there's not a lot of news this week, and it's all really Strange New Worlds and Picard. So let's head over and check out the poll. Um, da, 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 da. I'll give you guys another minute here on YouTube. And the poll currently, so on Twitter, which new character are you most excited to get to know? Okay, the distribution of responses is not quite what I would have expected, which is always interesting. So first of all, you know that I like to kind of troll people with my polls, and I know that we have actually seen Dr. Mbenga on screen before, so he's not really a new character, but he kind of is because we've just had him. I think it was 2 TOS episodes we had, so we really don't know him very well. Dr. Mbenga is currently in the lead with 38.5% of the vote in the Twitter poll, followed by Erica Ortegas with 30.8%, Hemmer with 23.1%. Of course, he's the blind ANAR engineer. And poor Laan Noonien Singh is way at the end with 7.7% of the vote. And that I find really interesting. I'm curious why that is. If you were somebody who is not interested in Laan Noonien Singh, I'm curious as to why. Because they clearly put her in there as like a not an Easter egg, because it's like, if it's an Easter egg, it's like the worst Easter egg because it's really blindingly obvious that she's supposed to be related to Khan. But she seems like they've put her in there as a something that you're supposed to be intrigued by and you want to know more. It's interesting that on Twitter, at least, people don't seem to be that bothered. But yeah, okay. I'm gonna close the poll here in the chat. While I'm waiting for the results, Paul in the chat says, we've been burned by a new con before. Yes, we have. Robo Q-Man says, one con is enough. But honestly, it's not quite the reaction I expected. Anyway, all right. YouTube. So, YouTube. Oh, very interesting. So, okay, Dr. Mbenga is in the lead, but tied. So, Dr. Mbenga and Hemmer are both tied for the lead with 35% of the vote of people that you guys want to see. Laan Noonien Singh comes in at 17%, and Erica Ortegas comes in at 11%. So Dr. Mbenga and Hemmer are really up there at the top, and then the other two ladies down at the bottom. Now, I did see earlier somebody had a comment that we really know nothing about Erica Ortegas, where at least Dr. Mbenga we've seen in TOS. Hemmer, we know a little bit of background of his species, the ANAR, so we know a little bit about that. Laan Noonien Singh, obviously, as I said before. And then Erica Ortegas is just, she's just a girl with really great hair, by the way. Anyway, if I had to choose, I will actually admit curiosity with Laan Noonien Singh. I'm curious about whether they have knowledge and understanding of their history and their legacy and how that plays into things. I also want to know about Erica Ortegas because she looks amazing. And that's it. Anyway. So that's it for the main show today. Just a reminder, if you are here in the YouTube chat, stick around. I'll do some chat with the chat. And also I want to talk about Robert April. It's going to be fun. But yeah, that's it for this week in Daily Star Trek News. So thank you very much for listening. And just a reminder that if you are listening to this on the podcast today, come and join us on YouTube because it's a lot of fun and you get a little bit of extra content at the end too. Now, remember, you can find all of this week's stories, including the ones that I've covered and some that I have not covered. Those are all on dailystartreknews.com. And if you want to make sure to not miss any of it as it comes out, please subscribe to our daily newsletter. It's at dailystartreknews.com/content. It's not that. It's not that at all. It's /contact. Contact. That's the one. Anyway, thank you for listening. This show is produced by me, Alison Pitt, and all of today's stories have been written by Chris Peterson, Marina Kravchuk, Jack Brown, T. Rick Jones, and David Powell. Today's show, of course, was supported by people like you through Patreon. You can find out all about that and how to support us from just $1 a month at patreon.com/Daily Star Trek News. I will be back next week after the start of Strange New Worlds. But yes, I will be back next week with more of the Star Trek news you need to know. I'm Alison Pitt. Live long and prosper. All right. Okay, so listen, I promise that, wait, excuse me. All right, I will talk to the chat in just a second, but before I do that, I want to just address, because this week is going to be particularly crazy online, and um, where do I start? There has been particular news over a particular person possibly getting control of Twitter, and that's kind of made people go a little bit nuts. And also, you know, the start of a new series has been historically a little bit potentially tumultuous on places like Twitter. I don't use Facebook, by the way, and neither should you. So I don't know what it's like over there. But given that we have, if you've been following Star Trek Picard, no spoilers, but it was a little controversial last week, and we've got the finale coming up this week. Star Trek Strange New Worlds has obviously been, I mean, geez, Strange New Worlds has got to be the most highly anticipated new Star Trek series, I think, since Next Gen. And I know that people were like super, super, super into Discovery, and everybody was really excited about Discovery coming on. But right from the get-go, it was obvious that Discovery was a new Star Trek series that was being made by people who make Star Trek, right? Strange New Worlds from the start was something that the fans demanded, the fans wanted. They're paying service to the fans by going episodic. So I really think the anticipation for Strange New Worlds is much higher than it has been for other series. But anyway, that's all beside the point. My point being is that number one, everyone's feelings are running hot right now, especially with the just they're running hot right now because of what's going on in Trek fandom. They're running hot right now because of what's going on in the world, and they're running hot right now because of what's going on, like, actually in social media and tech. The point that I'm trying to make is, please be aware of that. And also, you know, your experience of Star Trek fandom on social media is within your control, and there are ways to make that a really, really positive experience. Like, generally speaking, I think I have. And that's because of some things that I keep in mind. And so I want to talk about that really quick, and I want to also talk about why I keep bringing up Robert April. So, number one, on social media, if somebody says something horrible and you don't like it and it just makes you feel bad, even if it's not directed at you, you do not have to engage in it. Mute and block, please. Just get rid of those people on your timeline. There are. As somebody who's been around the Star Trek space for a very long time, I cannot even explain to you how gigantic the Star Trek fandom is. Do not ever feel like you have to be nice to somebody because you're afraid you'll lose a Star Trek fan. The Star Trek fandom is so much bigger. If you don't like what they say, mute them, block them, and move on, please. Just cut it out, because there are plenty of awesome people that are out there. The corollary to that is, if you see somebody being horrible, please do not subtweet them either. You're still giving that horrible negativity air, and it just don't subtweet people. It's just terrible. Take your energy and turn it into positivity, please. As a person who is a creator with Star Trek, I can tell you, I know it probably seems like there are a million Star Trek podcasts or whatever out there. There's a million Star Trek YouTube channels. There are not nearly enough people expressing their positivity and love for Star Trek in a constructive manner. There are not nearly enough people. So if you are seeing negativity online, please counteract that by being positive. And also just like mute and block everything. And if you don't want spoilers, remember you can mute hashtags and things like that on Twitter. It'll keep a lot of that stuff out of your timeline as well. Right. Um, I just, sorry, I know I go on a little bit of a rant, and I feel like a little bit of a know-it-all, but I've been extremely online for many years, and I have so far, touch wood, managed to avoid a lot of the toxic stuff that happens online, and it's because these are the things that I do for myself, and I hope they will help other people. Right. So, okay. Robert April, this is a spoiler, by the way, for Strange New Worlds. IGN put out an article talking slightly spoilery about, because they've seen the first episode of Strange New Worlds, and they mentioned the fact that Robert April has been cast. Robert April is going to be an admiral in Strange New Worlds. I won't tell you why, but he's there. It's a small role, and he's been cast by a Black Canadian actor by the name of Adrian Holmes. And some people are kind of losing it online. The gist of it is the fact that we have seen Robert April on screen before. He was a white, older man in the animated series. There's some issues there about how old he was, what rank he was, blah, 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 blah. But basically the racists are coming out because they're like, he can't be Black because he was white before. I won't get into that too much, except that I actually support the casting and I think it's great. And I think that if you're using canon as an excuse to poo-poo diversity and representation in a Star Trek series, you need to check yourself. But that was the main reason that I wanted to just do this. This week is going to get really horrible online, and I don't want to like speak that into existence. But I've talked about this before. Engagement is what's monetized on the internet. So you're going to hear a lot of hot takes, a lot of people clickbaiting, etc., etc. Don't engage with it. Move on. If you have feelings and stuff, engage in discussion, but don't give air to the trolls. And I don't know. I don't know, man. Sometimes I just give up. Congratulations, to Adrian Holmes. He is stepping into what is arguably a new canonical role. But also, I don't know. You can hear the despair in my voice. I personally think people take canon a little too seriously. I think canon puts you into a corner. I think that it's great that people recast and reboot and bring Star Trek into the modern era. I think it's only a good thing. And I think that if you're gonna attack an accomplished Black actor for being cast in a role, I think you can maybe just not for now. That's all I'm gonna say. Paul right in the chat. Uh-oh. Yeah, I got nothing. I'm gonna scroll back and say hi to some people. Congratulations, by the way, to Dr. Noor. It was the finale of BioTrekkie with the Admiral earlier today. So if you haven't gone and watched there's a special guest. It's Bob Picardo. It's a special guest as Bob Picardo. Go and watch it. I believe it's still up on YouTube. It's BioTrekkie Explains on YouTube, and the series is BioTrekkie with the Admiral with Jane Brooke. I hope you guys can go and watch it. Scrolling back to the beginning. I have really strong feelings about things that happen online. That's why I like to rant. You just don't have. A long time ago, Just come with me on this journey here for a second. It's a short show, so I can ramble a little bit. A long time ago, I had a whole bunch of stuff in a storage unit that my mom had kept or something, from before I was in high school, and we had to get rid of the storage unit, and that involved basically getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff. And I don't know why I started on it, but basically, I just committed myself to getting rid of anything that had a negative connotation with it. Anything that when I looked at it just made me feel like, oh, even if it was something that I thought was technically important, like, oh, this is a formative thing in my life. No, forget it. I got rid of it. And you know what? I cannot remember anything that I got rid of that day. I know that I went from like 40 boxes down to 2, and I cannot remember anything that I got rid of that day. And it was all stuff that either wasn't important or I looked at it and I felt bad. And I've done that, time and time again in my life. And metaphorically speaking, you can do that not just with your physical belongings, but you can do it with mental things too. And online, let me tell you, the power is like it. Everything is about validation online, and you want everybody to like you, and you're worried that you'll miss something, or you're worried that something bad will happen. But if you just mute and block and move on, I can guarantee you, you will not miss that negativity. Um, unless you're the person who just really loves the drama. I will admit to occasionally going down the drama hole. But, anyway. So Donnie Pearson in the chat. This is where I start to go a little bit because I'm just looking at what you guys have been talking about in the chat. Uh, there's a lot of discussion about Cinco de Mayo apparently. And quesadillas, I didn't really know what was going on. That was Muhammad and Donnie. Donnie mentions, I think this must have been when I was talking about the motion picture. Yeah, the motion picture is going to be on 4K Blu-ray this coming September as well, if you don't have Paramount Plus. By the way, guys, did you notice that you can now skip intros in Paramount Plus? You couldn't for a long time. I don't know if it's on everything, and I'm not sure it like works the best every time, but I noticed it the other day, at least on the Apple TV. Lots of congratulations for LeVar Burton, which is wonderful to see. So, okay, Robert Kaiser, I'm sad for you. Okay, so Robert says, I don't care about the Orville personally, and I'm not very excited for SNW, as I so far don't know if and when I will be able to watch it legally. There is actually, and I have not watched it yet, so I don't know what it says. Trek Core was at the red carpet premiere of Star Trek Strange New Worlds last night. There is a clip that they've got talking to Alex Kurtzman specifically about the international release of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So if you are an international person, you haven't seen that yet, head over to TrekCore. I don't know if they've posted that on the website or if it's only on Twitter. It's probably on Facebook too, because they're big on Facebook. But they do have some footage talking to him about the international release. I'm hoping that it says something positive, that you guys will get it soon. I've never been a person who minds spoilers, so I don't have any advice to give you guys on spoilers and that, except what I said before, which is, mute everything. I don't know. Wes Huntington in the chat has brought up a really interesting idea, which I love. I think he was referring to the TNG animated, so correct me if I'm wrong. He said, I'm hoping that Lower Decks will do an episode in that style and a CGI episode and a live action episode. I would so love to see that. And I honestly wouldn't, if anybody's going to do that, it would absolutely be Mike McMahon, because they could totally do, I mean, what's weird is that the cast really does look like their characters. And they could absolutely do a live action and a Prodigy style and a TAS style, and that would be wonderful. And you could even work it in like, multiverse stuff. I'm actually kind of surprised that they never did anything like that. I mean, it's pretty avant-garde for something like TNG, but where they had that episode that was was that encounter with the two-dimensional being, and they got stuck on like the two-dimensional wave, and I can't remember exactly what happened, but you know, they've done examinations of that before. I'm surprised they never kind of did a alternate universe thing with, playing with something that way. Would have been cool. So regarding the poll, Donnie Pearson says Christine Chappell isn't new either. Yeah, that's why I left her out of the. Poll, because we do know a fair amount about. I specifically didn't put Pike, Spock, and number one, although arguably I'm really looking forward to getting to know Una better a lot. I'm fine with Uhura. I feel like we know her pretty well already. Same with Spock. Interested to know what's going on with Pike. I'm glad to see that clearly at least part of what I predicted was that there will be flashbacks going on. It apparently is true because of Robert April's involvement. Anyway. Mohammed says regarding this thing, I love Rob Perlman, super nice guy. Jordan has also always been kind to me. Yeah, honestly, I was looking forward to, I don't do many interviews on here because the editing takes a long time, but I was really, really looking forward to speaking to both of them. First of all, it's the first interview that I've done on here with two guests instead of just the one. But also, they were coming as friends to begin with, and I've met Jordan a few times at the conventions, and it's always been enjoyable. They're wonderful people. Robert Kaiser points out, because we were talking about later this summer when we have no Star Trek on, and we can start talking about some of the more left field stuff on Daily Star Trek News. He says, don't count on no Star Trek being on. Lower Decks Season 3 was announced to come in summer. Yeah, I know, because so Strange New Worlds is going to run through the end of June. Yeah, I suppose it could start up again in July. I don't know. So I was sort of reminiscing about the olden days of Daily Star Trek News, because for a while there it was just we started just after season 2 of Discovery, and there really wasn't anything else on. I think we had some short treks or something like that. But the days when there's like nothing going on are kind of fun. Those are the days that you get the Daily Star Trek News stories about the guy that built a tricorder in his basement, and the people that are, the left field stuff. Those can be some of the most interesting little corners of the fandom to explore. So I kind of miss that. I'm not sure we're going to get that for a while. Although, as I pointed out, there's not going to be a lot of like new casting announcements and new, like there has been for the last few years, because once Strange New Worlds premieres, we've seen it all. What is it? Sorry, that's from oh my god, is that Extras? Extras, I think, with Patrick Stewart in it. his line, "I've seen everything." If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway. Donnie again in the chat makes a good point. Well, no, it just he reinforces my worldview, so obviously I'm going to call it out as a good comment. Talking about how he's not a huge he what does he say? I love Lower Decks and Prodigy a little more than Discovery and Picard combined. Uh, it's that's what's great about this era of Star Trek. You don't have to like it all. And also, you don't have to tell anybody that you don't like it all. I mean, you can get a podcast or something. But yeah. Christoph says, okay, admit it. Who here has blocked me everywhere? No one. Christoph, you're a very sensible person online. I want to encourage that sort of behavior. Boy, oh boy, if you saw the things I block on YouTube and everything else. That is something that I do, by the way. I try to make it a safe space for you guys too. When there are jerks, I try to get rid of them too. So, oh, I think I've missed Katie. Katie, thank you for joining in. I don't normally get to see you. She's probably already gone by now. But if you're not, bye. It was nice to see you. All right. Okay, guys, listen. Oh, Christoph, you're wonderful. So Christoph summarized Alex Kurtzman's statement to TrekCore. He says, basically, Kurtzman says, some things, no control over, not ideal. We know it, cast know it, we hear you. Yeah, and that's a really good point. The cast and crew and producers of Star Trek have absolutely zero control over the distribution of their show. And I can almost guarantee you, if they tried to influence that, they would be met with a closed door. They, these are issues that are way, way, way bigger than the production of any one individual show. I can guarantee you that the people who produce it and the people who run the networks, etc., want nothing more than for Strange New Worlds to be in front of as many eyeballs as possible. But there's stuff in the way. So try to be patient, and if you can't be patient, then do what you got to do. Anyway, okay. I've ranted a little, whatever. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for listening. And please, seriously, let's form a brigade of going out and don't give air to the trolls, please. Just get them out of our spaces. Remember, every time that you engage with somebody, you are giving them free publicity. When you click on that YouTube video, when you click on that incendiary headline, you get served with an ad, and whoever gave you that incendiary headline gets a small fraction of a dollar from you and from the other thousands of people that do it. It's so tempting, and I do it myself, but just don't. Get rid of it. Anyway, thank you very much again. You guys, this is the last time I'm going to speak to you before Strange New World starts, before Picard ends, and I'm gonna try and stick to, we try to avoid spoilers here, and I will, but I really do think that things are going to be different after this Thursday. So Keep it real, and thank you for watching. And I look forward to having a really good discussion with you guys next week. Come armed with questions if you want, and let's try and get into it. Oh, also, I nearly forgot. Oh my God. Wait. Sorry, I'm a hot mess today. So, as you know, I've been singing the praises of my whole team for so long, and you guys don't know any of them. So we were going to try and get together and do like a special anniversary edition of this show and introduce you to everybody. That didn't quite work out, but we are doing it. I do believe I have confirmation on June the 5th. Sunday, June 5th, this show, instead of this show, we're going to have like a get together with the Daily Star Trek News team. So mark your calendars, because everybody will be there, and then you can see their actual faces and ask them questions, and no harassment. And it should be a tremendous amount of fun. I'm really looking forward to you guys meeting everybody on the team. So yeah, June the 5th. And by then, not only will we have had the finale of Picard and the premiere of Strange New Worlds, we will have had the premiere of the Orville season 3 as well. So anyway, thank you very much again for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys next week. Until then, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'm going to say it. Live long and prosper.